Hey friends, it's Renee Bradshaw. I'm going to be doing a 4 card tarot reading today. A glimpse into a past life. This is for a client, and she said she has some social anxiety, and she's always been this way. Very stressed out in social situations, and doesn't really know if it stems from something in this life or if something in a past life. So I'm going to hope we can concentrate on that. I'm certainly going to concentrate on that question when I ask my spirit guides and say my little prayer for reading. You won't hear my prayer. I do that while I'm shuffling the cards, and I usually fast forward while I'm shuffling the edit, just because I know you probably don't want to sit here and watch me shuffle for like 3 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so we have a card that's going to represent you in that past life, and a couple more cards that will build off of that and hopefully speak to the situation. It's not uncommon for me to pull another card on a past life reading if I feel like I'm leaning in a certain direction towards a question. I just kind of want to confirm it, and I'll ask, I'll also ask the pendulum sometimes. And then this card will be like why you can't let go of whatever that was in that life, why it's still affecting you now. So the first card is the Seven of Wands. We see here a witch that's kind of been cornered. She's got all these wands pointing at her, a bunch of fingers pointing at her. So I kind of get the feeling here that perhaps you either did something or you were accused of something falsely, but you were definitely accused of that. And if you were the one that did it, you were eventually found out. I feel like when I'm looking at this card that these were probably your friends or family, and this is probably something that you did to them, and then it eventually came out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other wands pointing at you. Well, obviously it's the Seven of Wands, and you have a wand in your hand here. I'm just going to say this is you. I like to do that. But here I see that you've got 6 people pointing at you. That's definitely putting you, in a moment of social uncertainty, where you are the focus of this basically attack, whether it is a well-deserved attack or a false attack. But I feel like that's what happened. These will kind of go over that situation a little more, and definitely here we have another 7 card. That's the Seven of Swords. Here we see, someone is it's often known as the Thief card, but I don't always know if someone is taking something or placing something where it should not go when we get this card. But I feel like in this situation, I feel like you probably were to blame if I'm seeing 2 of these. I don't see that this is a false accusation. I see that this was a very something you had done, something you had stolen, something you had taken from someone else. That's what I'm seeing here. And I wonder, let's see here. Was this something she had stolen from somebody else and was put this back into view here, was caught publicly, probably. Okay, so that's yes. So that's something that you had stolen, and you were caught publicly. Now I'm getting like a maybe, probably because of the theme here of the witch. And I mean, granted, this is the Witch's Tarot, but not every card has the witch's hat. But I feel like we're seeing this, and I almost wonder if it wasn't something like witch trials. Maybe you weren't stealing anything, but or I mean, you had stolen something, but instead of kind of getting accused for that, like everything else during that time period during the witch trials, you were tossed underneath of that bus, tossed underneath of that witch bus. She did this because she's a witch. Now the Wheel of Fortune, I feel like here in this situation, this just was a warning to you of being accused, being cornered, and everyone kind of calling you out on this publicly. This was kind of a risk that you took when you did take something. Now, seeing this card right now, I do feel like you were guilty. You did take whatever it was you were accused of. But when I see this card, I don't feel like that was necessarily you being vindictive or a bad person. It might have been food, shelter. Yes, it might have been money, but I feel like it wasn't a lot of money, but money to perhaps help your family along, health, medicine. So I really feel like whatever you took, you accepted the risk, you rolled the dice, you were like, if I don't take this, things are going to be bad for my family. Things are going to be bad. If I do get caught, but it'll be worse if I just don't try at all. So, but unfortunately, when that happened, I think it is just super plain right here that it happened in a very public manner, which would probably explain why you have some of that social anxiety you carry over now. If I had been accused of something in front of a group of people and they all, yelled at me and pointed their finger at me, I would definitely have some social anxiety and fear of groups and crowds. And then we have the card that shows why you can't let go of it in this life. Now here I feel like we have the Judgment card. It came up reversed, but I don't always do the cards from this deck reversed, just because when the artist and the author created the deck, they did not create them with the intention of being read reversed, but only one way. So it just kind of depends on when I flip it, if it feels like, yes, that should have been reversed, or no. So here I feel like the reason that you're kind of holding on to this whole thing is because you're worried. Do you carry some worry at times about being judged? And I wouldn't think you would get that worry from your closest knit friends, when you're around one or two of them. But when you're in a large group, if you're around 8 or 9 people and it's your turn to speak and everyone's eyes are on you, do you kind of get that worry, like, oh, what I'm going to say is going to be wrong, even if it is something silly or is something that is your exact opinion, are you going to get judged on that and you're going to be treated like your opinion is wrong? And I'm curious as to if you have some of that feeling, and that is how this is coming up into your life, because even though you did steal something, you knew in your heart you were in the right because you were helping someone, but you were accused publicly. And so now, even when you feel like it's not that big of a deal, or rationally you should feel like it's not that big of a deal, or something is your opinion, you get worried about getting judged, and that is how this is following you around in this lifetime. I also kind of read the number that comes up here sometimes. It's how many lifetimes ago or years ago maybe something happened, but when it's when it's a major arcana card, they're numbered differently, and with that I don't see that as how many lifetimes ago. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pull a card, and I'm getting another major arcana card, and that's kind of interesting now because you have 3 of those in the deck, and those are really like universal not qualities, but universal lessons and things that are happening within the universe that are outside of our control. And I think this is not telling me how many lifetimes ago this was, but I think this is trying to tell you, how you can help with this here, how you can help. And I see the meditation here. I see perhaps doing some of those, you can buy meditation books or CDs. I listen to free ones a lot on YouTube. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's something that you could use if you wanted. But I really feel like this card is telling you that meditation is something that would help you get over this social anxiety, or if not get over it, at least maybe go back into this life. It'll help you kind of remember what happened, and if you don't remember exactly, but kind of remember the feelings, kind of remember the feeling this card gave you. Maybe think about this reading and let it kind of percolate in the back of your head, and then in a few weeks, maybe or sooner or later, whatever timing feels right to you, but maybe sit down and meditate with whatever this has brought up with you, and see if you can kind of empty your mind and just think of the images in this spread, and think if anything comes to you as as memories or feelings, and maybe learn to adjust through that. But listen to meditations on on social anxiety and such. But I really feel like this was a huge moment, just this being accused in a huge group form. I mean, just the thought of that makes my stomach curl, because I have pretty major anxiety and social anxiety. My anxiety I've learned to curb over the years, but my social anxiety flares up at the most random of times, and certainly the idea of this happening to me makes me my stomach hurt. So I'm gonna pull 2 cards here and see if we can get an idea. Okay, so I pulled 1. We have the 5 of Wands. I'm gonna take that as now. This is what I usually do when I'm trying to go for the years. I'll pull cards. If I get a major arcana or a court card, I'll know that that's not the years. But if it's, it might have something to do with the reading. I believe this did. Then the next one I got was a minor arcana card, which is the one I used for years. And then a court card came up again telling me that the reading was over. So not the amount of years. This wasn't 5 years ago, but I believe this happened to you 5 lifetimes ago. And even more than that, I see the angry faces here. The women that probably were the ones that accused you here in this group setting. But I feel like probably the reason this is all still also coming so hard to you is because it's so fresh in your mind. Or not your mind, but way back in your subconscious, it's fresh. The feelings are fresh because it was only 5 lifetimes ago. Now we know a lifetime could last, sadly, a few seconds, or it could last almost 100 years. So there's not always a really direct way to figure out how long ago that the lifetime was, except for to you, 5 lifetimes ago seems like it was something that was not long enough ago that the lesson could have been fixed by now, unless you had done serious work on it in a previous lifetime. And I also see that the 5 is coming up twice here, which is showing me another reminder. And we've got 2 kids here, so another, it was just 5 lifetimes ago. It wasn't that long ago for your soul. The wound is still very new and still very fresh. Oh, even the cats are fighting at the bottom of this card. I never noticed that. They're all mad at each other. Poor kitties. But so I really think that's probably what has stemmed a lot of this anxiety in you, is just this whole being accused by these women for what you did. But what you did was what you felt like you needed to do at the time. There were consequences for taking action and consequences for not taking action, and you did what you felt like was appropriate. And so I think that maybe that's just a fear that you're gonna have to try to figure out how to conquer. I really think meditation helps, but I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just saying this is what the cards are offering. But I always think it helps for a lot of people if you can do that. But I hope you enjoyed this reading. I thought it was a really good one. This is it still keeps making my stomach sick. But thank you so much for purchasing it, and I've really enjoyed doing that for you. If you want to, this was for a client. If anyone else would like to purchase their own, it is available in my Etsy shop. They were discounted on sale this week for my little Halloween sale. My past live readings were on sale, but they're always in my shop. You can find me by going to Etsy and searching Witchy Renee Bradshaw, all one word. But I hope you guys have a beautiful weekend. Bye.